Hi guys, it's Paul from models.co.uk. Welcome back to part 4 of our Tamiya 1/6 Yamaha Motocrosser build. This is where you've seen this in part 3. The main frame assembly all assembled, exhausts on, etc. The rear swing arm in place with the working suspension. So I'm going to focus on a little bit more of the fiddly parts today. A few chrome parts, a few other bits that need painting. Hopefully we can move on to putting the chain on and maybe start getting the rear wheel together as well. Like I said, they're very fiddly bits. Quite hard for me to figure out in what way to film on this build. So it's quite a hard one to look ahead to see where I'm going to go next. But we get some of these smaller parts on, painted, and then we'll start putting the rear wheel together, hopefully get the tyre on and what have you, and we'll see where we progress from there. So I'll just move that to one side and we'll move the box out of the way. So what I've done is we've cut off a few parts. So there's the chain assembly with the rear sprocket, we've got the kickstart, I think that's the gear lever, foot pedal stands and what have you. So what we're going to do is we're going to assemble some parts on one side. I'm going to hand paint some parts, then off camera I'll do the other side, and then we'll come back and we'll crack on some other bits as well. So what we're going to do is we'll do this side because we've already got the cover on the actual side of the engine there, and that calls for these parts. So we've got the kickstart, a foot pedal, and if I'm completely honest, I'm not even sure what that part is, but we'll get to that at a later date. So quick reference to the instructions. We'll just literally try it in place, seeing where things go. That goes there. So that's the kickstart. Obviously it's not displayed out, it's up out of the way. So I've literally pushed that in there, and to be fair, it's quite tightly held. So we won't bother gluing that in position, we'll leave that as it is. All I've done to that, because it's a chrome part, like I said, I'll zoom in a bit, I don't be stripping all the chrome parts and respray them because they're actually quite well chromed, which makes a change for all of these kits. So that part was chromed. I literally tied it off, and there was a rubberized part, obviously to grip where your foot sits when you're kickstarting it. That literally slid on, again no glue, held on it by friction, and as you can see that's held on quite nicely there. I just noticed that my air filters are a little bit loose, just where it goes onto the carb, so at some point I'll rectify that and we'll give it a bit of glue on there to get it. Next part, I'm just trying to figure out where these actually attach. So the instructions are a little bit vague in places, and I am sat here scratching my head sometimes because A, I'm not a big bike nut, so I don't know what everything is, and B, trying to figure out where stuff goes can be quite fun. So that bit goes there, and supposedly that glue's in position on top of there. Your guess is as good as mine on that one. There we go. So that's how that works. So that part slides in there, and then the footrest sits on top. So that's easy enough. So what we'll do is we'll put a little bit of glue. I'm just going to tidy the end of this up, cut it off, but I didn't tidy it up. So just a light sanding sponge, and then we'll give it a go over with a polishing stick, just to smooth those edges. These parts are called out to be painted in gloss black. I'm not going to airbrush them, I'm going to brush paint them in a minute. We'll use a bit of Vallejo glossy black and glue it in position. So what we'll do here, I know the frame's been painted, so what we'll do, we'll put a dab of super glue in there to hold that piece in. Just any super glue, or I prefer that type of bottle, squeezy top bottle. The lid never clogs. Brilliant. Very simple. Again, always orientate your part where you want it, and I'm going to dip the part in. Shouldn't really do that, but I'm confident of where it's going. And again, refer back to your instructions. Pop it in position. There we go. One thing I will say, all these parts are a nice fit. They all fit in very easily with no problem whatsoever. It's a very nicely made kit. There's no doubt there, considering it's an old kit as well. I mean, even that part held on by itself, it still needs gluing. But it is a very, very good quality kit, because I believe it's a 70s kit. So obviously the Tamiya quality still showing through from back then. Obviously just want to get that straight. You can see it there just sticking out. There's a little bit of glue on the black back part. Again, I'm using Tamiya Extra Thin, my preferred glue of choice. There we go. So there's all the controls and what have you for this side. There's a few more on the other, quite similar. You've got the gear linkage and the same foot pedal, and then again on this side further on there's the rear brake, if I remember right. Yeah, rear brake and the linkage to the rear wheels and what have you, but we'll get to those in a little bit. So I'm going to let that dry there for a minute. Once it's dry, we'll come back and give it a paint. Let's move those out of the way. So we're now on to the chain assembly now. I'm just going to tidy this part up and explain. So there's a few, well, there's one chrome part which is the rear sprocket, I guess it's called. It simply glues onto that as he throws it, like so. Bottom part's painted gloss black. Again, should I spray it? I'll have a think about that one. And I'm just going to dry fit these to see where they actually go. So did they go over, under, or what? Because I'm guessing one has to go over the top, or one has to go over the bottom, like so. Yeah, there we go. I can see that now. So it literally fits over like so. As you can see, grabs in position like, I'm assuming like that, and then the other one's glued to it. So what we can do, we can take that off for now. We'll decide what we're going to do with that. And then we'll slot. It's going to call for some super glue, I think. So what we'll do, we'll dab a few bits on, and then we'll pop it in position. So it doesn't need a lot. Just in a few places on its way around. Of course we can't use normal modelling glue because it's a chrome part. So all the glue will do is literally remove the chrome, which is not good. So we go this way, don't we? Let's have a look. Make sure we get it orientated right before we go and super glue it on. There we go. Part of the course to get my finger attached as well. So what we'll do is we'll just pop it down on the desk, push everything in, we'll grab a little bit of super glue activator. Careful using this stuff, it's absolutely horrendous. Stinks to high heaven. So I always give it a spray, waft it away. Still stinks. Quick blow and that evaporates all the activator. It instantly dries the super glue. It shouldn't leave any residue behind at all. So there we go. So that's that glued in position. As you can see, like I said, they are nicely chrome parts, so really no point in stripping and spraying them at all. And then we've got the second piece which fits over the top, slots in there and there like so. What we'll do is, because we're onto plastic now, we can use some modelling glue, so a bit of extra thin, we'll clamp it together, hold it for a second and then move on around. We'll put that to one side. This, really not sure I'm going to paint that yet, so that literally fits on like so. I'm going to put it to one side and I'll decide later what we're going to do. So right now we'll give this part a bit of Vallejo gloss black. It's position number 170. I always go on the position number because I find them easy to find. But it's 70861 glossy black. As you can hear, I've got a ball bearing in mine, which makes it mix a bit better. We've got a paint palette. We're just going to pop a single drop in, a single drop of the Vallejo thinner, which I need to shake as well. Here we go. And we'll give it a mix, and then brush, we'll use a small flat brush, a Tamiya one I think. So we give it a little bit of a clean. As you can see, a little bit of thinner in there, still white. Give it a little bit of a mix. And there we go. Again, make sure when you're picking it up there's nothing on your fingers, because there's nothing worse. And on this side there's literally this one part of paint gloss black. It's exactly the same on the other, so I'm not going to show both. I'll do that off camera to save a bit of time. What I can do so you guys can see, to move the light a bit. There we go. So we're literally gloss black the whole foot pedal. I was good to nearly dip that in the super glue then. That would have been good. Excellent paints to use. If you're still using enamels or any of the other acrylic paints, the Rebels or even the Humbrol acrylics, seriously give the Vallejos a try. They really do knock spots off all the other paints. Absolutely superb, very easy to apply, they dry super fast. They really do paint on lovely and smooth. And they're very hard wearing as well. And as you can see, the way I paint it on, there's no real worry as to what's where or how much I'm popping on, because it's just such an easy paint to apply. There's no worry about, if you're brush painting Tamiyas and what have you, if anyone's ever done that, you'll know what an absolute nightmare they are to paint. Because you go over one bit, you come back and it takes the paint off. With these there's none of that drama. Super smooth. I've been using them for quite some time now. And for me, to brush paint, there's nothing out there that even gets close to them. So obviously we want to be careful we don't get any on the frame, because that's a different gloss black. Right, to spray that in Alcalad. And obviously on a model it gives you, it's good to have different finishes and textures and what have you. As you can see, that the matte black of the engine against the gloss black frame looks really good. So there we go, that's our hand painted. Nice and simple. I'm going to glue that bloody air filter boxes in position in a minute as well, because they're driving around the bend. So I'm going to do the other side. We'll pop back and we'll crack on with the rear wheel. Right, okay, so we're back. We've given the chain a matte black paint all over. We haven't sprayed that middle part yet. I think there's some bigger gloss black parts to spray further on the instructions, so we'll do those at the same time. But that's all been painted in matte black. I literally used Vallejo's black and added a little bit of their matte medium, which gave us a matte effect paint. So that was nice and simple. All the parts are on now. So we've got the gear lever, the other foot pedals, they've been painted and glued in position, so they're all ready to go. Moved on to the wheel, so I've cut the parts off the sprues. Again, they're chrome, so there's no need to muck about spraying them and what have you. We just tidied them up, got them as good as we can. What I have done off camera though, is if we zoom in a little bit, we'll have a look. You can see the middle hub, I've painted that in Vallejo black, gloss black, and just super glued that in position. Just for ease. As you can see, it's in two parts. What I'll do, once we get it all glued in position where we want it, I'll then go through the spokes, touch up any black areas that need doing, and as simple as that. So I've dry fitted these to test them, and they do fit spot on. And what you can see is you need to get those little lugs lined up with the spokes. Each spoke, where it attaches to the wheel, there's a little lug where it sticks out as it does on the rail bike. So just pay attention to that if you are building it, that you do, because it will go in the position where you've got spoke to spoke, which you don't want. So it just needs that orientating there, and that's done. So what we're going to do, we're going to super glue this in position, and in fact there's a little locating lug at the top which I didn't see before. So I don't know if you can see that there, one's sticking out, one's a recess, so that you really can't mix it up as such. Best way to glue this, I'm going to just go around the rim with some super glue. Oh, as he flicks his toothpick. So we grab another one. Nice to super glue my fingernail to my finger as well, which is nice. So literally, it's thick super glue, because what I don't want it to do is run out onto the chrome work and ruin that. So I don't want to sandwich it in between and then have it all sticking out. So what we're going to do is we're going to run it around the edge. We'll clamp it as we go, like so. We'll just run it around the entire thing. Until we're happy that it's glued. So as you can see, I'm just using there's no capillary action because it's too thick, and that's exactly what I didn't want. Because I think if I did that, it'd end up squeezing through the chrome work, and it'd end up with a horrible, nasty white mess. And there we go. So we're all dried. I can't see anything to come through underneath. Oh, can't see a thing, so that's brilliant. Now I think we're going to have to put the rear tyre on. So these things are great, look awesome. Again, this is where the instructions get a little bit vague, because we literally jump from the wheel being built, if you can see, I'll hold it up, to the actual entire assembly being put onto the bike, and it doesn't mention how you attach the chain or anything at all, so quite vague, which is never good. Also no orientation of the wheel, so I've got absolutely no idea which way around it goes, so really I'm going to have to guess, which isn't good. Right, well we've got a recess there, and so that fits in there, that side. So I'm guessing that goes there. That goes around. Yep, so we go that way. Go that way around. Quick look at the tyre, make sure it's the same each side, which it is. And normally here's now where the wheel falls to bits again, because I had the exact same problem getting the tyres on my Tamiya Yamaha, so not Yamaha, Honda R166. We're nearly on. This is where the build starts to get a bit more fun now, as things start to come together better. It starts to look like a bike, and what have you. So what we need to do is flip it round and just pull it so the rim of the tyre isn't inside the rim of the wheel, because it looks odd like that. It just needs pulling out a little bit. There we go. So like I say, we're starting to, once you start adding bigger parts like this, it starts to look more like a bike, and it starts to get more fun as well as a build in itself. So there we go. That's an impressive looking tyre, and I've got massive hands. That's a hell of a wheel. If I measure it, diameter, it is 10.5 centimeters, or in old money, 4 1/4 inch. So quite a big wheel. There's no doubt there. So what we'll do now, just have a quick look what we've got now. So on the other side, taking that will fit in there. There's no need to glue that because there's a bar and a nut and a shaft that goes through there, which then moves us on to a lot of other fiddly little bits. So what we'll do, I'll go and cut all these off, tie them up ready, and then we'll come back. Okay, we're back. I've cut all the various parts off. They're all on the e-model sticker. Tidied them up. There's a couple need painting. They'll be painted like I did with the foot pedals and foot controls before. Once they're on the actual frame itself, I'll hand paint them, because I think it's literally just 1 or 2 needs to be painted in gloss black. In fact, it's just 1 by looking at it. Off camera, I've sprayed this, which I'm assuming is the rear brake cover, in Mr. Hobby flat black. As you can see, just as good as the others we sprayed last time. So I've just stepped out the spray booth now, so I'm hoping it's dry, which it is, which is great, very handy. So basically just orientate yourself with some of the parts, make sure you see where they go, how they sit and what have you. So for this we need the actual frame, which we've got there. We need that rear wheel we made before. And now we need to pay attention to what we're doing to make sure we get everything where we want it, which is like so. And now we can slot that into the frame. So this is saying it needs to go over there as that bit falls off, which is always handy. So we need a third hand now to grab all these parts that are falling off. There's one part I've forgotten to glue there, which is this other little hub. So we'll put a dab of super glue on each of its locating lugs. Obviously again, make sure you get the right way round, pop it in position. We won't need any activator on that because it's not a part that's, we're going to be mucking about with a lot at all. So, like I said before, so we need an extra hand, which we haven't got. So we hold it in like so. I've got to make sure that chain goes over and under, which I'm having trouble seeing. So let's spin it around. Right, does it go through that hole? Yeah, it goes through there. As I say, it always pays to pay attention to the instructions, but typical blokes, most of us don't read them half the time. So what we've got now is we've got the threaded bar, which we can now slip through, and once that's in, there we go. That takes a little bit of mucking about off. The good thing is, if something's wrong, I'll zoom out a little bit, is that you can literally undo the bolt, take it all back off, And away we go. What we need to make sure is that we are orientated there, because that's where the sprocket goes on the front. So that's that. So we're on there. Now there's a chrome part on each side which sits like so. So what I'm going to do there is I'm going to pop that one through, which is there, and as you can see everything spins and turns, which is good in a way because it gives you that, you know, you've got a bit more room for manoeuvrability. We'll just put that on and get that finger tight, and we'll flip her around and do exactly the same the other side. As he drops it, it's quite tight, that little look, so we'll undo that a little bit, push it through, try and get that bit that dropped. It's kindly sat on my hand now. There we go. It's going to go back like so, and then hopefully that knot will grab that little bit of thread. Push a bit more through from the other side, would be brilliant. There we go. So as you can see, just where my thumbnail is where the threaded bars come through. So I need to get that nut on there like so, which we have. There we go. That moves backwards and forwards where it wants. So I'm assuming that once you get round to this side and you start putting this front sprocket on, that you can really line it up where you want. So what we're going to do now is everything's in there. I'm going to push it right to its furthest position back. As that nut falls off. Nothing like doing stuff live on camera. My God, the whole thing's fallen to bits. That's literally the exact width of that thing. There is no lever there whatsoever. That's on. What I've got, which I don't know where I picked it up from, I've got the tiniest little adjustable spanner imaginable, and hopefully I can get it to fit that. And we can get it to tighten up, which we have, so that needs to be spun there and there, and there we go. Rear suspension works, which is great. The wheel should turn, which it does. And there we go. Fiddly, but it's on. So there's the rear wheel on. There's a few other bits and bobs to attach, which we'll get on quickly. As I say, that should turn, which it does, which is great. So we just need to orientate ourselves. So we've got a little bolt that slots in the bottom there. Again, no need for glue. Very, very tight. You want to go fully in. And then got this bar here, which goes through to there. Like so. Like I say, it's quite fiddly. We're at that stage now where things are getting a little bit more awkward to fit and what have you. Right, okay, so there's that part on. I just had to give myself a couple of minutes off. So we put a little bit of glue in that in the end. That's like a friction fit there, and that's that part in. Onto the rear brake and its cable and what have you. So 3 or 4 parts. We've got the front section, which I've just dry fitted. It did fit rather nice, so literally I'll zoom in a little bit. So you've got a little locator at the top that literally clips on there like so and gives us the movement. That then fits into the side of the frame, but we'll get the rear part on first. So again, back to your instructions. As you can see, we've got that part Attaches there. Again, when you're using these chrome parts, the bits you cut off, obviously they lose the chrome. Try and get those hidden where they can't be seen by orientating that chrome rod around the other way hides where it's actually being cut. Obviously you can still touch it up, but there's less need for getting absolutely perfect then. This side needs a little bit of glue, so we drop a dab on there. Pop that on. Again, that just slots over and then it'll glue in position right there when we get the right way, which is there like so. Hope it doesn't want to play ball either. There we go. So again, there we go, gives us a working linkage as such. So you got the complete all the way through. If I zoom us back out a little bit, there we go. So if we look on the instructions, we've got both parts are there, so that's great. I think what we'll do, we'll put a little dab of super glue on this rear section. We'll pop it in the back part there. And then where that comes through to here, like so, goes in there. Sorry if you can't see it, guys, it's just quite hard to manipulate this. There we go. And get it just where I want it, as well as letting you guys see, so I'm assuming that's correct. What we'll do, we'll refer to the box art, always a good reference. Just make sure that rear part is like so, so according to that it goes further down, so that should go there. Like so, there we go. So a quick look at the box art. Shows us just where it sits, which is there. And then obviously that rear part we glued in position, make sure it's where you want it. Job done. Quick look on that box art again. Obviously it's a nice big picture, you can see that linkage there runs up diagonally, which it does on the bike, and it sits just in line with that foot pedal, footrest. So there we go. So there's all the rear wheel attached to the bike, the side controls, the kickstart, gear linkage, the brake pedal, the rear brake, what have you, and that leads us through to the chain, which that'll be in part 5. We'll get the rest of the engine components on, which is here. The other cover, the rest of the chain, actual sprocket, the kickstand, and what have you. There's also a front, I assume it's like a protective plate under the frame on the engine. And then, like I say, in part 5 as well, we'll make a start on the front suspension, and hopefully part 6 we can get the bodywork sprayed. I think I'm going to use a rattle can to give it a bit better finish, because it's a larger model, there's larger bits to paint. Quite hard to get gloss white to spray nicely, and I'll be there all day with an airbrush as well, so I think we'll rattle can those. And hopefully we'll get all this done in yeah, part 6, so hopefully we'll just have another 2 more parts of this and we'll be done. So there we go, so that's as we stand now. Rear wheels on, we've got all the sprocket on, that's sprayed, the chains on. Like I say, I'll get that light dry brush once we're done. That rear tyre looks absolutely brilliant, really does fit it off well, and this thing's going to be absolutely huge once it's done. As you can see in my hand, like I say, I've got massive hands. Really coming together well now. So that's us for part 4. So I'll see you next time for part 5. As always, have a look on your model's website, any modelling needs. They sell virtually everything on there, fantastic website. Have a look on Facebook, like the model's Facebook page, and also look on YouTube at the rest of these videos. The rest of the parts 1, 2 and 3 are on there, as well as the other builds I've done as well. And also all these builds, like I said last time, can be found on internationalscalemodeler.com. You can comment on the forum. It's more of a forum based chat on there rather than the little comment box under YouTube, so you can have a look on there as well. You can find all the builds as well as all the previous ones on there. And you can also check out eModels monthly, our monthly competition on there, sponsored by eModels. This month it's a 132 Revel Air Cobra, if I remember right. So join up, get your name down on that, and you can sort that out as well. So paulfrommodels.co.uk. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in part 5, and take care.